Have you ever found yourself gazing out the window, marveling at the intricate tapestry of modern civilization? The soaring skyscrapers that pierce the skyline, the vast networks of roads and highways pulsing with traffic, the hum of industry and commerce that forms the backdrop of our daily lives. It's a true testament to the ingenuity and boundless potential of the human spirit. But what if I told you that this incredible edifice we've constructed, this pinnacle of human achievement, could come crumbling down within our lifetimes? It may sound like the stuff of dystopian fiction, but according to a chilling prediction from researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, this apocalyptic scenario could become a stark reality by the year 2040. Now, before you dismiss this as just another doomsday prophecy, let me assure you that the study behind this forecast is rooted in meticulous research and sophisticated computer modeling. It's a dire warning that we simply cannot afford to ignore. So, let's start at the beginning, shall we? The story behind this prediction traces back to the early 1970s, when a team of researchers at MIT developed a groundbreaking model known as the limits to growth. This model sought to analyze the complex interplay between various factors that underpin our global civilization, such as population growth, resource depletion, industrial output, food production, and environmental degradation. By simulating different scenarios and projecting their impacts on these variables, the researchers aimed to shed light on the long-term sustainability of our current trajectory. And the results they uncovered were nothing short of alarming. According to the model, if we continue on our present course of unchecked consumption and ecological exploitation, the delicate equilibrium that sustains our society will inevitably be disrupted, leading to a cascading series of events that could culminate in a complete societal collapse by the year 2040. Now, I know what you're thinking, but surely, with all our technological prowess and scientific ingenuity, we can find a way to avert this impending disaster. And you'd be right to hold on to that glimmer of hope. After all, humanity has a remarkable track record of overcoming seemingly insurmountable challenges through innovation and perseverance. However, the researchers at MIT are quick to point out that simply relying on technological fixes or incremental changes will not be enough to stave off this looming collapse. What's required is a fundamental paradigm shift, a complete overhaul of the way we think about our relationship with the planet and its finite resources. So what exactly does this collapse entail, and what are the driving forces behind it? Well, buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into the heart of this dire prediction. Imagine a world where basic necessities like food, water, and energy become scarce commodities accessible only to the privileged few. A world where widespread famine and disease run rampant, unchecked by the crumbling infrastructure of healthcare and social services. A world where economic systems implode, rendering our hard-earned wealth and savings virtually worthless overnight. Sound like a dystopian nightmare? Unfortunately, this grim reality could unfold right before our eyes if we fail to heed the warnings and take decisive action. At the core of this predicted collapse lies a perfect storm of interconnected factors that have been brewing for decades. Let's start with the issue of resource depletion. Our planet's finite resources, from fossil fuels to clean water and arable land, are being consumed at an unprecedented rate to fuel our ever-growing population and insatiable appetite for consumption. As these resources dwindle, the strain on our economic and social systems will become increasingly untenable. Take, for instance, the case of oil. According to industry experts, we've already reached peak oil production, meaning that the rate of extraction has plateaued and reserves are rapidly depleting. This has far-reaching implications for everything from transportation and manufacturing to agriculture and heating. But it's not just fossil fuels we need to worry about. Freshwater sources are also under immense strain, with millions already facing water scarcity and droughts becoming increasingly frequent and severe. Then there's the looming specter of climate change, an existential threat that has already set in motion a chain of events that could prove catastrophic in the coming decades. Rising sea levels, extreme weather patterns, and the disruption of delicate ecosystems are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the challenges we face. But perhaps the most insidious threat of all lies within the very fabric of our societal structure itself. The study highlights how the vast inequalities that permeate our global systems, from wealth distribution to access to education and healthcare, are creating a powder keg of discontent and unrest. As these disparities continue to widen, the potential for social upheaval and conflict becomes increasingly palpable. Take, for example, the stark contrast between the luxurious lifestyles of the ultra-wealthy and the abject poverty endured by millions around the world. This glaring inequality not only breeds resentment and instability, but also hinders our collective ability to address the pressing challenges we face. You might be thinking, but wait, haven't we seen similar warnings before? And hasn't humanity always found a way to adapt and overcome? And you'd be right to question the validity of such dire predictions. However, what sets this particular forecast apart is the sheer magnitude of the challenges we face and the intricate web of interconnected systems that could unravel in rapid succession. Imagine a scenario where resource scarcity leads to widespread food shortages and economic turmoil. This, in turn, fuels social unrest and political instability, further exacerbating the crisis. As governments scramble to maintain order, essential services and infrastructure begin to crumble, leading to a cascading effect that could ultimately culminate in the collapse of entire societies. It's a chilling prospect, but one that we must confront head-on if we hope to chart a different course. So what can be done to avert this looming catastrophe? Well, the researchers at MIT have a few suggestions, and they all revolve around a fundamental shift in our approach to sustainability and global cooperation. First and foremost, we need to embrace a radically different model of development, one that prioritizes sustainability over unbridled growth and consumption. This means rethinking our energy systems, transitioning away from fossil fuels, and embracing renewable sources like solar, wind, and geothermal power. It means revolutionizing our agricultural practices to ensure food security while minimizing our environmental footprint. But it's not just about the technological solutions. We also need to address the underlying social and economic inequalities that fuel instability and conflict. This means investing in education, healthcare, and economic opportunities for all, regardless of geographic location or socioeconomic status. And perhaps most crucially, we need to foster a spirit of global cooperation and collective action. The challenges we face are too vast and interconnected for any one nation or entity to tackle alone. We must break down the barriers that divide us and work together towards a common goal: the preservation of our planet and the continued flourishing of human civilization. It's a tall order, no doubt, but the alternative, a world teetering on the brink of collapse, is too dire to contemplate. So, let's take a moment to paint a picture of what a sustainable, equitable future could look like. Imagine a world where our cities are powered by clean, renewable energy sources and our transportation systems are carbon neutral. A world where our agricultural practices work in harmony with nature, replenishing the soil and nurturing biodiversity. A world where every child, regardless of their circumstances, has access to quality education and healthcare, ensuring that their potential is not squandered by the cruel vagaries of poverty and inequality. This may sound like a utopian fantasy, but it is a vision that is well within our grasp if we have the courage and conviction to pursue it. The road ahead will be fraught with challenges and sacrifices, but the alternative, a world teetering on the brink of collapse, is too dire to contemplate. So, let us heed the warning sounded by the researchers at MIT, not as a harbinger of doom, but as a clarion call to action. Let us embrace the spirit of innovation and ingenuity that has propelled humanity to such great heights, and channel it towards crafting a sustainable and equitable future for all. The path forward will require unprecedented cooperation and collaboration across borders and ideologies. It will demand that we transcend our petty differences and unite behind a common cause: the preservation of our planet and the continued flourishing of human civilization. And while the challenges may seem daunting, we must never lose sight of the fact that we possess the knowledge, the resources, and the collective will to overcome them. It is up to us, the stewards of this remarkable era, to seize the opportunity before us and forge a legacy that future generations will look back upon with pride and gratitude. So let us rise to the occasion, let us heed the call to action, and let us work,